Alright, so we are now live, and we're going to do ourselves a little bit of Resident Evil fan art. We were talking about that throughout the week, just to give you a bit of a timeline of how we got here today. I started off doing some sketches of adjectives that I had friends suggest as a warm-up sketch, and then after that, I did well during that one of the verbs was kissing, and I'd never drawn a kiss before. I may have. I don't know. Maybe not. But anyways, I found it rather fun and thought, hey, it'd be fun if maybe I just opened every stream up with a kiss. I probably won't do that. Well, I already haven't been doing that. But I did think it'd be fun to draw a kiss again. And then after the events that took place on the 6th, I did another one of my editorial cartoons. And in the midst of drawing a police officer in riot gear, I started thinking about how fun that actually is to draw, and wanting to draw that kind of thing in a better situation. And it made me think about Leon S. Kennedy in one of my favorite games, Resident Evil 2. And then I just thought, hey, we'll do a fan art stream eventually, and we'll draw Leon. I've been kind of sketching him. Sketched him during one of the warm-ups, and then I thought, hey, we still want to draw kisses, so why not do Ada too? So we sketched Ada the other day just to kind of get used to drawing both Ada and Leon, because I've never drawn either of those two before. So we did that for warm-ups. Well, actually, yesterday when we drew Ada, I got a late start on the stream, and so I just thought, hey, it'd be fun to just draw lips and Ada, and that's what I did that day. And here we are on the Friday of the promised Fan Art Friday, and we're going to draw a kiss scene between Leon and Ada. And I will say that I'm most likely not going to finish that today. I can guarantee you I won't finish that today. Uh, A, because I'm very slow, especially with characters I've never really drawn before. And B, just because if I'm not drawing a story, and we're going to get to the point where we're writing another comic and drawing another comic, but if I'm not drawing a story, I get bored with things very fast. But what I will say is that on Fridays I will come back to this drawing, and today we're actually not even really gonna, I don't even know if we're gonna get started on the real illustration today. I think I'm just gonna kind of sketch around and have fun. It's a Friday, right? Let's have a little bit of fun and try to figure out maybe a composition. And if I get bored with that, maybe just sketch out the two characters a little bit more. Maybe just sketch out some more kisses. I don't know. But we do have a goal of eventually doing that. But I don't want it to get in the way of, you know, drafting up my new project and practicing those characters and whatnot, and coming up with those. So we're gonna keep working on this illustration until on Fridays. And every Friday, I suppose, or every Friday I can keep the schedule. We'll come back to this, and then once that's done, we'll probably do another thing where we brainstorm what other kind of fun fan art thing to draw from whatever else I was doing for my sketches that week. So that's kind of the plan today, and I haven't even planned what the illustration today is going to be. So like I said, we'll play around a bit with both with these characters and try to think about um, how we want to frame the scene, um, and yeah, we'll play around until we find out what we feel is interesting enough to do as a full illustration. So for now, and we're kind of warming up right now too. So as always, when we warm up, we kind of keep things very loose. And we're just going to brainstorm things. And I'm not really going to be married to all the ideas here, I may try a few different ways to think about drawing the kiss scene between Leon and Ada. One thing I'm thinking about here is that, I spent some time the other day, or the other days, getting to know these characters. And it'd be a shame if we really don't see enough of either of their faces. So I may play around with where I'm going to, how I'm going to shoot it. Another thing is that I do want to think about capturing their characters a bit. And one of my favorite things about Leon as Kennedy in Resident Evil 2 is he's a bit of a sweet boy. One of my absolute favorite things is after the scene where you play as Ada, and she had left Leon behind because he did go pursue Annette, who had shot him. After she bandaged Leon up, she left her coat on top of Leon. And then when you play as Leon again, you can actually find that coat, and he folded it up and hung it. They're in that little sewer room that they were in previously. And I want to capture that sweetness, that charming sweetness of Leon. So if I were to think about this like as a dance, I'm going to move this aside because we're still just kind of warming up and brainstorming things, and that's an idea there. If I were to think about this as a dance, right? Ada's in the lead, and Leon might be taken aback a little bit, just like the kiss scene that actually happens in the cable car. And that one's kind of shot like she kind of leans in and steals a kiss from Leon, and he's like a little surprised and taken aback by it. And I do want Leon to be kind of surprised by the kiss. I think that's a little fun. And whatever we end up drawing, that's how I want it to be, for sure. Right now I'm thinking specifically about that scene of the cable car and how that's framed. Of course, I'm doing that here without any kind of reference to the scene, but just the idea behind it. And we'll also have that as a bit of something to have our minds on here, right? He's kind of surprised by it, so it's body language, his shoulders kind of up a bit, do, something like that, right? While I continue to think about ideas of how to frame this, I might actually even take some time. Well, I'm definitely going to take some time to look up some reference, right? And different shots of people kissing. Let me go ahead and save this file right now. Make sure I find the right folder here. There we go, and then my sketches. Well, you know what? This isn't going to be sketches. It's eventually going to be a full illustration. So even though we're sketching around, we're going to make a new folder for that. I don't have an illustrations folder. I'm going to make an illustrations folder right now, and then put a new folder in there. Leon and Ada is what we're going to name that. Okay, there we go. So now I'm gonna take a moment here real quick to just Google kissing to get some other ideas of how to frame this. Oh, that's a cute kiss there. And there's some stupid ones here too. That's always fun. There's one bit of reference I'm looking at right now that's framed a little bit like this, and I think it's pretty interesting. The reference I'm looking at here is really charming because I like this reference. And I like the idea of I like what's going on there compositionally. And I'm going to play around with it because right now I really am kind of jotting down what I see there in the reference. I'm going to kind of look at what's that going to look like on a page. So, wouldn't it be interesting if I am definitely going to end up doing something a little bit like this. It'd be interesting if this one here was Ada, right? I like a lot of what I saw there, and I think we're going to play around with that idea a bit. Move that over to the side. And I hope those of you that are here or are watching this in the future enjoy me kind of my stream of consciousness while I do this. One thing that I'd always been worried about live streaming about was I was always afraid of the idea of being on when I'm trying to figure something out. Also, I like the idea of being able to see more of the character spaces, but that's probably going to be a little just because you know, this is going to be a piece of fun fan art. You know, if you're a fan of one character or another who's going to be in this picture, I hope that anyone who's looking at it would like to get a good shot of both of them. So that is something I'm very concerned about. So I may turn the bodies a bit here as opposed to what I saw there, because like the front of the face on that figure was like that, and then you really don't get the front of the face of that figure. So I like the idea of the passionate shoulder grab. Right, and this probably isn't so much as leading, Ada leading as I thought it would be. It's very equal, and that's always good. But also Leon holding Ada up has this bit of Leon's sweetness that I definitely want to capture as part to also, you know, tell the story of the characters and who they are. And Ada, I want her body language to be a bit more passionate, a bit more forceful, a bit more just kind of into it than Leon is, because I feel that about sums up their two personalities, although, you know, these two will constantly be in a will they, won't they situation, because that's just kind of how it is in Rizzy. Yeah, I think I like this idea here. Maybe try to think a little bit about what the composition on a full page is going to look like, and kind of the way it dances across, and what the negative space will look like, right? But I think we have a good idea here. I totally think we have a good idea here. Okay, so I kind of don't want to be looking at these anymore. I'm going to keep it here, and you guys here watching this in Futureland, on my Patreon page or over here on YouTube, if you guys would like to see some of my like really rough early stage stuff, let me know and I'll put that kind of stuff up on the Patreon page. I would put up, I don't know why that's not Lasso anymore. There we go. I would put up some of my roughs of Transiltown pages, but I never put up things like the very, very early thumbnails, mostly because I kind of always felt like they looked very scratchy, and maybe not understandable and not very, I don't know, I didn't feel like they are very entertaining things to others, just because they're kind of chicken scratch and only I can probably really understand. But if you guys are interested in seeing those kind of things, because you're kind of seeing me do that here now in my stream of consciousness stuff, and when I start to do the sketching stuff early on here. So if that intrigues you and you want to see more things like that, I'll be sure to post those types of things on the Patreon page too. I am big into trying to show off process, I suppose, so that, you know, people really know the amount of work that goes into art, especially for someone as tedious and slow as I am. Okay, so I like the idea that we have here so far, and I think what I'm going to do before I start laying things out here on this page just to sketch, I want to familiarize myself with this a little bit more, because I've mentioned a few times on these streams that I'm a little lazy. I'm a little lazy about things and a little impatient about things, and a lot of times I end up going from my thumbnails of a page, Transiltown or something, and then going straight into the page without doing enough, without really doing enough sketch work. And yeah, so I do think that that kind of stuff is important to block out things and figure things out. And it's a part of the process that I really don't want to continue to ignore, because it does make a difference, and I could see the difference on pages where I was not doing that. As opposed to pages where I was doing that. So we are going to give this a little bit of time today. And again, I hope you guys enjoy seeing the entirety of my thought process on things. Something like, I'd like her action line to be something like this. Well, this is something like this. And gotta make sure, well, first of all, numero uno, what I'm failing on here. Boom, we're drawing a kissing scene. There's gotta be contact. Okay, So something like this. And I really want the bodies to be dynamic and twisting and turning a bit. So I don't just want to, I want to avoid framing Leon's body where the torso is so much in front of us, right? I want to move the shoulder in, twist things around a bit, because I think that that kind of stuff makes for interesting motion, makes for an interesting image, makes for interesting anatomy. So I'm gonna really think about where things are located here. So, right, like things like pecs right here, and then I want to twist it because I think that'll be really fun. And we'll be doing the same thing with Ada here. She'll have her shoulder up here, wrapping around, maybe around his neck. And let's look at some of the reference we have. And one thing is, I think fingers are going to be really important. I want like a grip, right? That's really fun. Kind of thinking about where the shoulder's going to be. And also, even when I'm working on the final illustration, you may see me do things like, you know, just as an aside, take the time to practice something very specific like lips and how they're going to be interacting with each other. We're gonna be taking a lot of time on this illustration. Like I said, I'm gonna be doing this over the course of different Fridays, spending maybe a couple hours or so on it. We're going to color it too, because I definitely feel like I need more color practice. I definitely need more color practice, especially after spending so long on doing a black and white comic. And as I've said several times before, that while I'm between trying to figure out what I want to do, I definitely want to use this time to expand my horizons and break out of my comfort zones and draw things that I haven't drawn before, and draw in ways that I don't frequently draw. So we are taking this time to do all of those things. I think it's always important. Okay, same thing here with Leon. We're going to think about where his arms are, and I'm probably going to look at a little bit more reference for ideas. But what if Leon has, like, this hand here is on the waist, and then Ada's hand is on top? I think that's kind of romantic. I don't mind going out of this little border. I mean, for myself here, we might change even more things about that. Yeah, like, I'm starting to like a lot of what we're deciding to do here, and I'm very happy that, you know, I reached out to my friends and was like, hey, give me adjectives to draw as warm-ups. I'm very happy to be thinking about you know, doing fan art type stuff again too, just because if I'm a fan of something, then there's stories that I can tell, and I want to practice illustration more. And illustrations, you know, what makes a really good illustration to me is a story, having a story to tell with the picture, or the picture is telling a full story. And if it's characters from things that I like and I understand them, then I can really think about, let's think about the weight, where his legs are going to be supporting both himself and Ada, and how, like, legs might be bent a little bit, maybe. Because the more I think about where all these shapes down here are, the more I can figure out about the body up here. And I do want to think about, like, how is she leaning into this? She's be wearing a skirt too, so I gotta kind of think about that. I think something like that, where it kind of goes around. Boop, boop. Okay, but I'm gonna take a moment here to look at some more of the little Google references that I have open. Oh, hey, I found that picture that was my main reference when we were doing the verb day. But yeah, like I don't think I finished making the point I wanted to make earlier, which is I'm very glad I reached out to my friends. It was like, hey, give me verbs to draw as a warm up exercise, and then you know, got a lot of good verbs, and I'm very grateful that the verb kiss was suggested, because I'm like, wow, it's such a fun thing to draw, such a very, very fun thing to draw. If I'm not careful, I'm gonna end up becoming very, very in love with drawing kisses, and you guys are just gonna see me draw all of my ships. Yeah, okay, so we're seeing some weight here. I want to see how legs are distributed. And this one here too. So it's not really giving me any dynamic ideas, but they are planted firmly on the ground. I like the idea like that. And I'm getting a little bit of, I want to retain a bit of that motion, right? There's a motion here, some motion there. So something like that gets me, and it's going to be out of the frame of our final picture, but like I said, figuring this out now helps me. I think the same thing here with Leon that I'm going to be doing with Ada, doing things with fingers is really going to help things. Okay, so yeah. So now I'm starting to really get a firm idea of what I want to draw. I want to think a little bit about what the negative space around here looks, because I want some good motion here. We're just gonna have the wrist go. Yeah, so why don't we just kind of want to block out a bit of work with me here. Why aren't you working with me here? There we go. No? Okay, it doesn't like me having all of this open at once, I see. It's not gonna let me do that. All right. Talked the other day when we were sketching out Ada about how much I like that one ear. That is visible from her haircut, and how much I wanted to make sure that gets shown in whatever it is that we draw. And I'm just kind of, I don't really need to be doing this, blocking out what their features look like, but I think that's going to help me a bit later. So okay, and yeah, I do. You know, we spent a lot of time yesterday practicing lips, and of course, the reason why we did that was when we were doing our verb sketches and not having drawn a kiss before, it became very important to me trying to capture kind of the softness of lips. I felt was really important, and the malleability of lips I felt was really important for capturing a kiss. And my lips have been very lacking, especially since drawing Transiltown for so long. It's very cartoony. Uh, and a character like Timmy, right? I didn't draw him with lips, right? He just had the cute little smile and then his vampire teeth coming out of there. There we go, Timmy. And look, one thing I will say is even though I've ended Transiltown, I still really love drawing those characters a lot. I spent 10 years with them. Um, and anytime I think about them, I'm gonna take a moment to just kind of sketch my little kiddos out. Uh, so forgive me. I do still love that world and those characters, but I want it to move on to other things. But um, I bring this up, and I'm drawing sketching out Alicia a little bit now, just to also say that lips in Transiltown were either like this or they were like Alicia's lips that were kind of like that, right? And spent 10 years drawing lips. Her eyes are bigger. I shouldn't be focusing on that anymore. Timmy's eyes are bigger too. Anyways, um, I say that to say that spending so much time drawing lips like this, and then drawing a kiss for that warm-up sketch the other day, made it really apparent like how lacking I was in drawing lips and how important lips are to drawing something like a kiss. So yesterday we spent a lot of time drawing that. We're going to spend a little bit of time here too before we start working on what's going to be the final illustration. Again, I emphasize it's not going to get finished today, and I'm sorry if that's something that you're looking forward to. I should probably hit the record button. There we go. I just hit record so that I can do a time lapse in the future. And I probably actually shouldn't be recording now because we're not actually working on the actual illustration. But so I just push stop on that. But anyways, lost my train of thought there. So we're gonna practice lips a little bit more before we move on to the main illustration because it's something that I feel I need a little bit more work on. It's important for this illustration. And also that point I was trying to make. It's not going to get done today. I will record things so that we can do a time lapse in the future. But this is going to happen over the course of just a single day each week, spending a couple of hours or two on this illustration. So I hope you guys who are watching right now or watching in Future World don't mind that. But that's just going to be the way that it's going to be. So we are going to spend a little bit more time here on lips. And I'm going to find some kissing reference, pardon me, that shows me a little bit more of the lips. And spend some time drawing that and thinking about how I want to portray it in the illustration, but also thinking about those things I was thinking about as I was sketching out lips the other day, and trying to capture the idea of softness. So here we go. We're just going to spend a bit of time, and we're really just going to be drawing the lips, not really caring so much about faces that are over it, but just for a little bit more practice and a little bit more of an idea. And we may just sketch out a few different angles and whatnot as we figure things out and practice up. And that's just going to be how we spend some time today. And pardon me, the sounds that I had on in the background have just cut off. I'm doing that whole internet streaming thing where it's like, are you still here? I'm still here. But I'm going to end up driving myself insane a bit if I don't have some kind of sound. So one moment, I'm gonna take care of that and get right back. And then I also figured that I should probably quench my thirst a bit. So I grabbed a cider. And that'll help us loosen up a bit while we work here. It's a Friday. We're not going to be doing coffee today. We're doing something a little different from coffee. Okay, so again, let's look at some reference, and I want to think about all those things that I was thinking about the other day. Softness, nice round shapes. And I'm not going to devote a lot of time to rendering this perfectly right now. It's just to get the idea across as we practice and figure out some things that we want to do. Softness, round shapes, curving around. Look how fun this is. We have fun here. Art is fun. That's also another reason why, while I'm here between projects, I want to try more things and experiment with other things. Because, you know, after a while, doing things like a lot of conventions and working on a webcomic every week, sometimes you forget that you have fun drawing, and it becomes work, and we want to start having fun again. And oh, that's a cute kiss. Let me look at that one for a bit for some reference. I don't feel like it's doing much different than what I just sketched out here. But this one's some good reference. There's a lot of things going on there, a lot of shapes going on there. So yeah, we're gonna look at this one for some reference a bit, and there's some really cool overlapping and kind of warping. And you guys can't see what I'm saying, and I apologize for that. But when I get like a dual monitor situation, and I can, because I have to right now keep things open in another tab, and then Alt tab over to it so that I can see it, which is a bit annoying. But see, what I like in the bit of reference that I'm seeing right now is, I talked about a bit about how what I also felt was important for capturing a kiss was not just trying to capture softness of lips, but also just like the malleability of it, like how flexible they are. And this picture that I'm looking at right now, like these lips, this particular upper lip, is warping in some really interesting ways. And then I'm going to spend a little bit of time studying this shape. Because also, and it's being, inner lip is being tugged in between, squeezed in between the other two lips of this person, and it creates this wonderful warping that I really like here, and a little bit of some of the face geometry or anatomy. I used to be an animator, 3D animator, and sometimes I think like geometry. It's like no, it's anatomy. Yeah, that's really interesting. Just to see a bit of what's going on over there, and his lip, it bends in some, it contours over the shape of her lip. They both have these really thin lips too. That's very interesting. I really like how flexible and just how warped that shape gets. Like that's really interesting to me, and it's really important for the conveyance of what we're doing. So here we go. These are the ideas that we've got going on here, and I don't like it just kind of floating around with all this space underneath it. Not that it even matters, but you want to work with me, program? There we go. But Mind Goblin, I just kind of want it to be a little bit more even. Maybe even like scale it a bit. It doesn't matter. I know it doesn't matter, but it's the little things that kind of you start to kind of think about. And I'm probably actually going to end up maybe warping this into a thumbnail so that I can have that open as reference to look at once we start blocking out the illustration here. I'm going to take a sip of my cider. Haven't done that yet. All right. So I'm going to copy what's there, and so I can just kind of have this up here as reference, and even do that. And of course, we're going to keep that there anytime we want to look at that again. Okay. So yeah, now we have a plan. Now we have a really good idea of what it is that we want to draw today. And again, I just want to say, anyone out there in Futureland, I hope that you guys enjoy being part of the stream of consciousness of things here. It's something that I always wondered if that's entertaining or not. Always a bit when it comes to like doing an art stream, I'm always like, what would make this interesting to watch? Because I actually don't personally watch a whole lot of art streams myself, just because if it's something like a tutorial or something like that, then I'm into it. But if it's not, but I know that, and some people have asked me before if I would ever do this kind of thing, and I've always just been like, is it entertaining? So I kind of just want to find out with you guys if doing it this way is entertaining, because we also did the thing where we would put up time lapses, and then I would occasionally talk over the time lapse, just to kind of give some insight into what I was thinking there. And I think there's value in that kind of thing too. But I don't know. We're experimenting with all sorts of things, and one of those things is live streaming. Okay, so we want to. This is also why I decided to keep this, right? Because having the larger one will help me see things a bit. Normally, a lot of times, what I will actually do is sketch things out in a sketchbook or something that I can have handy right next to me. Because yeah, a little bit of the opening up layers and stuff like that might be a little cumbersome. Just kind of thinking about the shoulder right now. And we talked about how much we kind of wanted some twisting from Leon here on the side. We're going to reduce the head size a bit on both of you two. Okay, so we're going to start thinking about some of the body shapes here and how we want to twist that, because we want I want Leon to twist something like this. And let's pull up this again. Because I want it to, we're going to pull up the little tiny thumbnail we had up there. And actually, I think what I'm going to do is this. We're going to put you at 50% and you at a clear 100%. Yeah, and I know we want to do stuff with their hands and fingers. And I kind of want Ada's to be there. I want her shoulder right here. And yeah, this is kind of how I think about things as I draw, is like I'll start moving around the anatomy and stuff like that based upon where I want parts of the body that I think are key to portraying the pose I want to be, and then start pushing and pulling things until it all just kind of makes a little bit of sense. But yeah, it's like I know I want shoulder here. And it's going to be kind of not like that, but tilted. I'll tilt his head a bit. So, whereas I think Ada, it's going to be more like that. And so I also know, so I'm thinking a lot about the shapes that I'm very interested in, and where to get them, and just kind of block those out where I want them to be. And so Ada's hand is going to be here on top of Leon's hand. And so we're going to have something like that going on. Okay, so this tucks in like that, going here like so. Neck is kind of, I play around with the head shape and where it's exactly located a bit too. Leon or Ada, we kind of want to press against him like so. And this shoulder that we can't really see past her head is going to be around here somewhere. Collarbone. Thinking about these shapes. It's pressed against him. Good one. Move. I really like the idea of the shoulder coming in closer. As we move things, we'll just keep moving other things until the anatomy just kind of starts to work. Yeah, see, I think that's kind of fun. But we may need to give ourselves a little bit more space. That's the fun part of a digital illustration, right? Is that I have the freedom to just kind of say, like, move the whole thing over. Okay. I'm trying to think about Leon's torso here a bit. And let's think about where his legs are too. Let's look at, I'm gonna let that go away for a bit. I wish I had not erased how I had his legs there, because I still think that that's kind of important. So let's go. I'm going to be looking at my references that I had again. Kind of wish I kept that bit of reference I liked open. But I will find it again. There's a piece of reference that I saw that gave me a good idea of how I want the legs to be positioned. We're gonna find that and jog my memory about that. We're not finding it. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Utilize your tabs more, Isaiah. But yeah, something like that works. Just kind of thinking about how his body is kind of going into this, and the anatomy of that too. And you know, the more I can figure out now, the better off I am in the future. Kind of feel elongating things a little bit. It's going to work. And then maybe reducing this head size again. That's going to have to work for both of them. And if I were more familiar with drawing these two, I would probably be blocking in kind of some of the shapes of Leon's costume right now, but I'm really not. Which is unfortunate because it's going to be a thing that ends up taking a little bit more time. Something like that. Something like that. And we're also going to twist her body a bit too, just because once again, I think twisting things helps with some dynamicism, and then just kind of getting things to overlap and underlap with each other. Yeah. Okay, so I got to think a little bit more about a few things about Ada here aren't looking right. Lean into that a little bit more. Which means that her neck is going to be doing something like so. I may need to play around with this shoulder a bit. And I gotta remember, I want Leon's hands all around the shoulder, fingers kind of passionately locked, like so. And the same thing's going on with Ada here. Her clutch, this is rather what I'm thinking there. I feel like there's an energy that I'm not quite getting yet. And also thinking about where lips and facial feature parts are. And it's got me thinking, okay, I'm going to have to move this a bit more too. Yeah, like so. That's a lot better. It means that we don't get nearly as much of Leon's face as I would like here. That's okay, he's got fun hair, right? So we can, we'll be able to tell who he is from hair and uniform. And we'll play around with a few more things later as we get more things figured out. But I think it's a certain amount of energy, and I think the energy is coming from over here that I'm not quite capturing. And I'm gonna get a little. I'm gonna look at my sketches again. Let's get a larger one. Like the kind of energy that I see right over here. I'm not really seeing enough of it here. Just kind of like a shoulder rolling over. I feel like I want more of that shape here. Gotta kind of think about where this other shoulder is too, which is going over Leon's shoulder that's over here. Then this arm is kind of tucking like so. You want to give some thought to even the shapes that you can't see, just to get an idea of things. And that's what I'm thinking about right now too. But I think there are two things here that are kind of bothering me. And I think shifting a few things down like so are going to help. Nah. We'll shift. We'll shift what's going on over here. Yeah, okay. So I don't want to end up shifting this down because they end up like that, and I kind of like what's going on like that. And I'm afraid we're probably just going to end up spending all the time that we want to allot today on just getting very general shapes. And so I apologize if we're not really going to see a whole lot of Ada and Leon in the sketch of Ada and Leon, because I'm getting to the point where it's like, yes, it's a weekend. I worked a full week at work, and so I do kind of want to chill a bit. So we're gonna get the energy right. And when I think of energy, I think of things like motion and like the motion in the illustration, and things like tension in areas where I want tension to be through the body language. So I want to capture that gesture quite a bit before we give this a little break. And I think that I actually might spend some more time throughout the week and not just wait until Friday to get to this, because this is really fun to draw. Extremely fun to draw. So we'll give some more thought as to whether or not we want to do that. That ear. That ear that's going to be visible through her haircut that I really like. Kind of want to think about that a little bit. Then her haircut goes like so. Okay, so yeah, like I do think that we got a lot of, we worked on quite a few things about this. There's something else I want to do here. And I think I want, Leon looks a little small. So kind of elongate some things here. Give him some broader shoulders. Maybe make his head size a little bit different. The more I start to make that head larger, the more, yeah, the less the expanding of the shoulders there are really going to work. So we're going to make all of this a little wider and longer, I think. So let's rethink about how his torso is shaped here. So we're twisting, we like that twisting shape. And let's see where his ear is. So more about that until I get the feeling that I want from him. Let's think about it. Yeah, we're just going to erase a lot of that and rethink this from the beginning here. So, rib cage is there. Drop that down about right there. That goes right here, goes into there like so. Oops, we have one over goes. Here. I might, off the stream, check out one of the anatomy books and life drawing books I have, just because I'm not pulling off the shapes here. A lot of things here don't quite feel right. So I will spend some time off the stream and look up some reference here to accurately capture what it is I want to capture. Think about the weight distribution here. And the legs are going to be spread out a bit like so, like so. But I think the bulk of what I'm having a problem with is probably here too. Yeah, like that looks a lot better. I'm trying to think of, I know he's going to have this bulky gear on, and I'm trying to think about that bulkiness right now. And you say this is what I mean when I say that I'm slow. I start to fixate on a lot of things. It's starting to feel like one of those things where I need to walk away from it and look at it with some fresher eyes. I'll be like, that's what I need to do, that's what I need to do, that's what I need to do. Yeah, because I feel like I'm kind of working over the same things over and over here and just not getting really happy with what I see. And so yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to call this a break. Off stream, I'm gonna give this another little look and see what things I want to change. Before next time we come back to this, we're going to be rendering out their forms a little bit more. I do want to do a little bit bigger here. Yeah, I'm cool with that. All right. So thanks so much for watching, everyone. And you know, I'm having a blast with the exercises that we've been doing, and having that lead into a kind of illustration that I want to work on. It's really fun, and really taking me out of the things that I normally draw and the things I normally think about. And so I'm excited. I hope you guys are. I had a good time, and I will check you guys out next time.